It's like a knife between us.
Hey, Rob.
Andrew Bauman.
We're just getting right into it. We're not even doing the pre-show banter.
Okay.
Here we are. Welcome to Arizona Beer Frontier. All you people in the YouTubes are seeing me point at the cameras. And
this
all
will
you
be a
people
very
listening
light.
is just me.
This will be a very light edit. There won't be a lot of things going on
Because you don't have time.
I just don't have time. This is you being basically the show producer because I have no idea what we're going to talk about. I'm in a bubble. Arizona is a wildly beautiful place, brimming with over 100 brewing companies. I'm Rob Fulmer, the Executive Director of the Arizona Craft Brewers Guild. I'm joined by Deputy Director Andrew Bauman. Together we cover the state, bringing you the best of what's happening at our breweries and beyond. Welcome to Arizona Beer Frontier.
Yeah.
I'm in a bubble of legislative things.
Why don't we just get into a little bit of what you've been doing for the last 2 weeks, like 24 hours a day?
Just understanding the hemp industry and specifically the hemp beverage industry and specifically low dose THC beverages, understanding how it works with the federal government, understanding how it works in other states, understanding how our Department of Agriculture is behind this program in the monitoring and testing and encouraging farmers to grow hemp and specifically for other applications as well, all the industrial applications. So been doing that, trying to understand, trying to use the information we have about how our markets are going in terms of the popularity of beer versus RTDs, and is this a direction that breweries would want to flex into in the next 18 months? It's really hard to understand where this is all going to shake out because it's going to take, even in this legislative cycle, if we get it through this year, some time to get that worked out. And then there will be rulemaking, there'll be widely varying costs to make these products potentially. So just trying to get a hold on that and then convert that information into votes at the legislature. And we had a Senate hearing on in the Natural Resources, Energy and Water Committee. It passed 5-2. There were a lot of conditional votes. Like I'm going to vote yes today so that we can do some further work on some of the details of the bill.
Which is not uncommon.
No, it's not uncommon.
Rob,
but it's in this case though. This is a completely new regulatory scheme, a completely new department, a completely new product for the consumer. So there's a lot of work to do. It's not just changing.
And why does the Arizona Craft Brewers Guild care about this? Rob Fulmer.
This on the one side, this could potentially be a competing product, and if it enjoys a lot of terrible regulation or doesn't have the right amount, I feel we risk having beverages out there that are not in the best interest of the public. So we want to make sure that these are non-alcoholic beverages. They don't enjoy the protections of alcohol in terms of viruses and other pathogens that can be born of beverages. And so we want to maintain that standard. We'd like to suggest that they leverage liquor license holders and that they've been fingerprinted and they have criminal background checks and there's rules about managers and all those things. So those places would be ideal for the sale and on-site consumption.
And they have the experience of an age-restricted product.
Right.
Currently, this product could be sold to anyone at all with no restrictions on testing, age, what kind of person can sell it. It's just...
Yes. So two things. One, that is the argument that is being made against it. And I'm like, well, this is legislation that's going to fix that instead of just killing it for economic reasons.
So right now, a 7-year-old could walk into a smoke shop.
I mean,
That is one of the examples that a legislator made.
I know. I I don't want to use her hyperbole on this. Really, I don't. Because they brought in things like that look like candy. I'm like, well, those are unregulated products, and we're here to regulate those. And we have labeling standards. We have things in the bill that would address that. So
Also, have you been in your own dispensary owner, and seen some of the things that you sell?
yeah. So so we had that hearing. There was a lot of scaremongering from the traditional, I guess, marijuana THC industry. They're trying to economically carve out or legislatively carve out, their fiefdom of, legislators called it a monopoly, and I don't necessarily know, and I disagree. They have a legislative structure that they created on their own. They did that through
Referendum.
a referendum, and they taxed themselves. They say now too high, or they use it both ways. Like
Yeah, they were
use this-
saying, "Oh, look how much we're contributing."
Right.
Also, why do we have to be taxed so much?
right. If you don't tax these guys an exorbitant amount, then it's not fair. So yeah, we're trying to sort through that, and honestly, they must know that a successful hemp market will actually play into their favor in the long run, just as the spirits industry wants to get more people out for occasions as we do. But
I listened to a Robobank interview with Southern Wine and Spirits data analyst, and he said right out loud, "Our goal is not to sell seltzers. Our goal is to get people in college to understand our brands and not have to compete to win them back later."
yeah,
So that's exactly what you said it was 2 years ago when we started this podcast, that seltzers are not about seltzer. They're about selling the spirits later.
yeah,
You literally just said it out loud.
yeah.
He said the quiet thing out loud.
That's what they do at those conferences. You pay a lot of money to hear them tell you exactly how they're gonna
Yeah.
fuck you.
Destroy you. Hey, what are you drinking, Rob?
Copper State IPA from Huss Brewing Company. Bold, juicy, delicious is what it says in the label. We are, of course, the Copper State. We have a Copper State cup, don't we?
Oh my God, that thing hasn't been out of the case in a long
I know.
time.
Keeps losing parts.
Yeah.
Imagine that. So this is their flagship IPA, Citra Amarillo Simcoe. Looks like a little bit of crystal in there.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
A little bit
This
of
is
old
a
school.
traditional IPA.
a little old school, little new school on the hops.
And we're drinking them out of some Greenwood Brewing taproom cups.
Yeah, I had a couple beers with Megan, and we talked about a whole host of things. And
It's a beautiful piece.
yeah. I've noticed that Rent House is also doing some branding of their building. They're using their building as branding, which is super cool to me.
Makes lots of sense.
I went full circle.
Same
I
like
actually
Oro.
talked to Megan about this. I said, I didn't get into this because I would have spent too much money on the building and tried to save a building, because we were talking about a particular building down the street, and I said, that's why I didn't get into it, because I didn't have anyone to tell me no. That's a bad idea. You need that in your life,
Right.
Someone to make you question your beliefs, so you
Impulses.
can figure that out. Anyway,
So the reason that it's important to Arizona craft brewers is because
it could be a threat or an opportunity.
it could be
could be-
something that they can serve in their tap room as an alternative to straight beer, but still has that social opening feeling.
Right. And so I've come full circle on this. I was like, why would I looked at THC in the abstract. Why would I care what it's in? Or why wouldn't I just go? I don't smoke, so that sensation is not pleasant to me. So, it would be edible or whatever. I'm like, why would I want to carry something around like this
full of
holding
THC.
holding up a can.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. But if it's served to me, and I have the opportunity to purchase while I'm there, as of course of buying other beverages or whatever, then it seems natural. And to me, a while ago I said there's another point. The other point is, in terms of why this is interesting to us as an organization, we are already accepting customers. We already greeting customers who have THC in their system, or they leave to vape or
they
whatever.
go in the bathroom to vape
Right.
or whatever.
So we are already contending with a competing product, competing for our dollars, our attention, and we're welcoming them into our places. So we might as well have a way to monitor consumption. So perhaps somebody who, instead of going out and vaping, might just go, I'm gonna slow down, as one does with alcohol. Like, hey, maybe I shouldn't drink all these shots right now. Maybe I should
have a beer,
maybe, or a glass of water, or whatever. Maybe I should, start drinking out of my non-dominant hand, and I don't know, whatever it takes to sort of slow down. So we can monitor consumption of THC if we sell it across the bar, right? As opposed to tracking a customer.
But not only that, it's another alternative in our tap rooms. One thing that we've heard from our members constantly is we want to have other alternatives in our tap rooms.
Right.
So this product is also potentially, at restaurants or bar or something like that. But great for our members to be able to make on a small scale, in-house, for their own guests to enjoy.
And I may be wrong about this for a really long time, but eventually I will be right in terms of creating a product that is different than other forms of THC, in that if it's sold across the bar and there are tap rooms and bars that serve it, you can move towards a much lower, perhaps microdose level of THC that people will enjoy differently, that they would never have that opportunity if it is sold exclusively
in dispensaries.
Right. They'll have more data on the behavior of guests. If we're talking about public safety and all that stuff. None of that happens when you bury these products.
Essentially at the house.
You're creating basically, or an opium den.
I mean, you can.
I went hyperbolic there, Andrew.
You buy it in what someone described as, it's like walking into a high security bank.
Yeah.
And then you take it to your house, and theoretically that's the only place you have it.
Exactly.
I mean, you might take it to a friend's house or whatever, but it's not in a social environment as traditionally explained. Anyways, so all that, thanks for doing all that work, that research all day long, and constantly in touch with legislators that you're getting to know a lot of new faces.
Well, there's a lot of turnover, and there's some old folks,
but also
old friendly faces, I guess.
Different committees than you usually.
Yeah, I'm not really on the land agriculture resource. There are different ones. We just deal with primarily Commerce Committee, and occasionally, everyone deals with Rules Committee, but occasionally regulatory or some tax stuff, but not natural resources, not agriculture. Anyway, so I have a couple meetings this week. I have some bills that I constantly have to monitor because they've been moving around, putting them on calendars, taking them off. We only have a few more days before this might go to the Senate vote, so I have to really cover some ground, and I got to get some in front of more legislators. So that's where I'm going right after this podcast. And then we'll see. There'll be we're working on the House bill, same bill, working that side of the equation. Try to get maybe a open house of some sort going during Beer Week. So wait and see. And in the meantime, we also had some other legislative activity with our liquor stakeholder consensus group, which there was a late amendment on that fundamentally a lot of people had a problem with, in terms of it came from outside a group, and there were a lot of demands put on us as private companies and organizations to run a bill for another trade organization, and they imply that they had the backing of the governor and they were going to fight against our bill and possibly get it vetoed
if we didn't put their stuff in.
And this pertains to certain aspects of obtaining a liquor license, or also extensions of premise, special
sampling,
events, all in that bill, and almost none of the language is. It was all a retraction of things that we already had, or a modification, which makes the process take a lot longer. And there are more opportunities to slow things down. And there's a statutory requirement to get the license done in a certain amount of days, and we don't want to change that.
There's a reason for that. And
Right.
even with that in statute, it still doesn't happen.
Right. So
In some
there
cases.
is a power imbalance. If you're a licensee and they say, hey, it says this, but you need to agree that we need to do X, Y, and Z. So
You need to sign
therefore-
this waiver giving us extra time.
Right, right. And you're going to say yes because you don't want them to say, well, that's our process, and maybe you'll get your license now or maybe you won't. It's very unfair. So we did the best we could. Somebody who has been running the bill and managing the bill pointed out there is a clause in there, and I'm going to call it "Don't be an asshole" clause. It says there's nothing in this statute that prevents a city or a state from issuing a license, regardless of what is in this statute. So it could be like, all right, we didn't know that the World Series was going to be here, and we will work with you to get a license for temporary extension, provided that there are not a lot of impediments. So it's like, hey,
Because essentially, with all this done, there would be 120 days from application submission to a city until they actually had to
legally have to issue that license. There's no way, if you could predict who's in it that will be in the World Series in 120 days, even 30 days, you could make a lot of money not running events and just putting that money in bets.
Yeah,
which is not
and,
even.
and sporting events are the only thing that this would apply to.
No, but this was an example that was
Yeah.
concrete. So
Yeah.
we worked on that. I still haven't heard back. I said, all right, well, this is what we agreed to. Send me an email and we'll sign off on it and we'll see what goes. But fundamentally, to have an outside group ask us to put in language, not object to the language that we've all agreed to. And ours is by 100% unanimous consensus. So if somebody disagrees with something, you got to work that problem out or it doesn't go in the bill. We're on the wrong end of that a couple times. And this year we didn't get some language in that I really wanted in. I support the bill. I support the process. So unfortunately, I felt like we were the last man standing in this. And I think we made some relevant changes at the end, but I fundamentally reject the whole thing. And the only reason I move forward is because I do respect that group. And I'm going to tell you that if that ever happens again, I would love to have the Arizona Craft Brewers Guild say, we were the last ones fighting for your license, your rights as a licensee holder, to get rid of this red tape and bureaucracy. It was us.
And no one else would stand up.
And if the governor decides to veto that, that is gold money for us because, I'd like to people to know, and there were other people in that group, but I was the only one that we were the only ones that didn't have a lot writing on that bill in general. And
True.
And also, I don't even think half the group knows all this stuff went on. So not going to name names because we have to live with these people moving forward. And, there are people I disagree with who I felt they probably felt that they shouldered a lot of burden. They delivered this piece and it was reasonable. That's not, I get that was the intent. I don't think there was any malicious behavior on that from that respect, but I don't appreciate being threatened if we don't pass this bill. If I don't say yes, then
To this section,
then I'm
then they're
responsible for having the governor veto an entire
taking the
liquor
entire thing.
I would like to see that happen because that would be a great moment for us displaying what we do on a daily basis for our members and also with consideration to other people. Anyway, didn't happen. So play the harp music. Didn't happen.
Kind of did.
Yeah. So
Some very important things
Yeah.
that would have made it more difficult were removed. So
right.
that's good. Some
All right.
other things that we didn't necessarily like are still in, but that's the nature of politics.
Yeah.
You don't just say everything or nothing.
Right. Right. So it wasn't just the language, it was the process. And can you imagine, here's a group I will name and throw under the bus. Can you imagine if the trial lawyers said, hey, we want you to put some language in it that makes it easier for us to sue all of you license holders. And if you don't do that, we will forever make it our
It's
business.
the same thing, man.
We'll forever make it our business to reject every one of your bills and every opportunity that a liquor bill passes through to the governor, that we will ask the governor to reject it and veto it. Can you imagine us agreeing to that? That's kind of what we did.
That's exactly what we did.
All right.
All right. Hey,
You have a whole host
in the
of
vein
things.
of hemp, let's talk about this.
Okay.
So during this whole hemp
That box is
discussion,
made out of cardboard. It's not made out of hemp.
I went online and I ordered
You just
some.
revealed your address.
That's okay. Come visit me. It's gonna be great to see you.
He has a knife, by the way.
I ordered this online. I ordered it from Curaleaf, which is a large dispensary company, and they have dispensaries in Arizona. They are more on the being careful with their business side than many of the vendors online.
It's Curaleaf.
Yes, Curaleaf. And they did take a picture of my ID, verified that I was over 21 in order to order. That is not the law, and it is not what every vendor online does. This
Right.
one did.
So you could
'cause
have found your dad's ID and
well, sure, but
no, I'm just saying, like, put yourself in 15-year-old Andrew,
okay.
you know?
So yesterday I got a notification in my email that the United States Postal Service delivered this THC product to my house. I'm not going to be able to open this, unfortunately. It's locked in a safe. This box is like a safe. Okay, let's get it.
We're not into unboxing videos. Like, they probably have some tricks of that,
Oh
of
my
that
God,
video
look at
segment
this.
where they pre-open something or they make it easier.
So a couple things I'm going to say straight up.
I'm just looking up to see what Curaleaf owns, and there's a Wikipedia page. A lot of them own farms. These companies, these distributors and dispensaries, they
Yeah.
own farms, and so that's, if you look at the liquor industry,
Can't do that.
yeah, especially when you're a multinational.
No, they distribute, they retail,
Right. So
and
we
they
see
manufacture.
the issue that we're working through on the hemp side that is fully addressed, not necessarily to everyone's liking, but on the liquor side. So we're kind of stepping through that.
This is most likely a Curaleaf private produced product.
Yeah.
It's called Select Bites. There are 10 in this bag. There are 5 milligrams of Delta 9 per guy. So that's half the size of a regular gummy. So I'm getting 5 gummies in there. That was super expensive.
Yeah. How much?
$25.
Okay. For how many servings of 10 milligrams?
5 servings of 10. Super expensive.
Yeah.
One reason, because they're probably sending it to a lot of places that don't have dispensaries for recreational like we do.
Right.
So I can walk into a dispensary, get some, and get 20 10 times servings for $15.
Right.
Instead, I'm getting very few for much more. But here it is. And it came to me in my mailbox,
Right.
which is amazing.
Right. Do your kids ever get the mail?
I don't have kids that live in my house,
But-
but no, they never did. But a lot of people's kids do.
Yeah.
So you want the
You're-
kids out of the house for a minute? Give them the key and tell them to get out.
I'm just asking. In September of 2021, the Oregon subsidiary of the company, Cura Cannabis, mistakenly distributed tinctures with THC that were mislabeled as containing only CBD. This led to a recall by the Oregon Liquor and Cannabis Commission. I'm just pointing that out. Because it was pointed out to me that if products like this, were sold at Circle K, chaos,
Chaos.
right?
Pure chaos.
I want to point out that liquor and RTDs not liquor, beer and RTDs are served in coolers next to regular soft drinks. Doesn't seem to be a big problem.
Right.
Anyway, that was they spent 25 minutes if they spent an hour on that particular point.
And in the hearing
Yes.
about the hemp bill the other day,
Yes.
I did watch that online. Wow. What a sight.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
So this is an intoxicating product that came to me in my mailbox yesterday. It's amazing.
Right. Now, I mean, they were going to point that out and they're going to like, see, it's unregulated. Like, all right, well, we're asking to regulate it.
Totally agree.
So,
I mean, I love that it's available. I understand, however, that it's not something that should just be like right out there.
Right.
But anyways, that's the experience.
what else did you get in the mail?
Did I? Oh, yeah. I also got some Miller Lite beer mints.
Well, that I will have because,
You're going to the Capitol today and you'd rather not.
right.
So Miller Lite they released on January 19th.
Yes.
Great. Oh, that couldn't be right. January 12th.
Okay.
I'm just figuring out for my vacation when I ordered it. This is for dry January, but they didn't release it until the second week of January.
Right.
Amazing marketing there. I tried ordering more than one.
I'm just
and-
noticing that that was shipped through USPS.
Yeah,
Like we can't ship beer through,
in my mailbox.
right.
Yeah,
Federally, we can't ship beer
yeah.
through the USPS. Wow, you have some show and tell for our Brewers Association group.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
I would love for you to present that to all the states.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Miller Lite beer mint. So
Right.
very,
Can you read the label? Because I'm really label conscious these days.
very tightly controlled.
Very illegal. Label.
They will only sell it to people over the age of 21, and also only one tin per person.
Yes.
I would have to have several different names in order to.
Organic sugar, organic gum arabic, natural flavors, gelatin. There are no other. It says created for 21 plus, does not contain beer.
Yes.
Hmm.
They don't want. They definitely
Did
don't
you have
want.
to sign for this?
I did not.
All right, I'm going to enjoy
Although
this.
it did not come by USPS, it came by
I don't think
UPS.
I don't think gum arabic is the intoxicating agent here. I think it's sugar. So cheers.
Cheers.
Do you chew your mints or just kind of? I'm chewing this one.
Generally, I would not chew it.
Okay, so it's supposed to taste like beer. It has I guess, a little powdered malt flavor, but not a lot, which is true to the brand.
It's a it's a Altoid, but just low
There's no mint.
peppermint. Oh, what?
There's none.
I get some.
Yeah, no, not really. It's just sugar. It doesn't say anything about peppermint.
Natural flavors. That's everything.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. It says mint.
It's a very cool package.
It says mint and it's green, so I don't know about. It's going to be spearmint then, right? Or
It's a cool
peppermint.
package.
Yeah, no.
Damn it. Now I ruined my mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm also drinking Tapachi. Wonderful. Okay. So that was a little intermission there.
Yeah. There are whole blogs. They call them Korean mukbang. They just eat food and talk about stuff while they're eating.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is not that. This is not a mukbang.
No.
This is just a podcast that just talked about mukbang.
Also, yes, we talked about mukbang.
Okay.
Arizona is deep in election doo-doo.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to try to talk about this without me having to feel uncomfortable when I talk about the same people who are causing this problem, right?
Well, here's the deal. They redid the Arizona election calendar,
Yeah.
but they didn't do it right. And now Arizona's votes may not count in the presidential electoral college because
Yes.
it was done wrong. Did I get it there? And they have until Friday, which is when the election calendar starts.
Technically
to-
Thursday.
Oh,
Unless
Thursday.
they change the rules to meet on that day, which they would actually have to, I think, provide 24-hour notice. So they'd have to
We're
say
real
that.
close. So we have 2 days to get a new bill passed
Right.
6 bills have been introduced to fix it. None of them are compatible with each other, and everyone says they won't vote for the other one.
Yeah.
Great. All right. So,
Who's going to blink?
oh God, it's so terrible.
I mean, maybe nobody blinks.
And then,
Yeah. So yeah, very much like our little scenario with our own bills. It's funny, and it's not funny. When I say, "Hey, we're trying this at the legislature," and people say, "Well, why don't you just tell them this?" Like as if like having the secret knowledge of something changes everybody's minds.
it's the pyramid with the eye, right?
Yeah, it's that, and sometimes, but it's mostly cutting through the power basis that already exists there. So you can make great arguments. I mean, if I could distill the election thing down, like, well, we need to have rules about if elections are close, we need to have consideration to make sure the vote count's correct. On the other hand, we have that doesn't come up very often, and it's very important that we are able to cure ballots. That is the process of like, hey, this doesn't look right. Can I run this guy down and see what the voter intent was? And also getting correct ballots to military people, like with the correct understanding what district they're in, and if you're getting a ballot here in Arizona, it is one of like hundreds of versions of it, because depending on your school district, all the way up, you have different initiatives, you have different school board elections, all that's in one ballot. So it's not just, oh, well, they should just hand count all the...
Print a ballot and throw it out there.
Yeah. It's very unique in that way, and that's why you don't have to vote 75 times a year. So you can't just do a handwritten ballot and put it in a box and they just count all those. It just doesn't work that way. So I already made enemies down at the Capitol.
About the handwritten ballots? Okay.
Yeah. So, that's going on, and that's going to take everyone's time and attention.
And right now, that's the only thing that people are really caring about, right?
No, it's not. I wish it was. It's not.
Last year it was just all budget. This year it's all...
Oh, budget was passed early. It was all election bills.
No, last year.
Yeah.
Oh.
Last year the budget was passed a month early.
Oh, great job.
But they just kept it. They kept it to the longest session in Arizona history because of election bills
that were done incorrectly.
They did all these election. They did all those election bills, and like we're down to one that actually really does matter. So, I
mean, that's not directly beer related.
No, it's just going to
muck up the whole process.
Something I have to wait around.
Yeah.
I hope that no one asks me my opinion on that.
In Oregon, they are facing some tax challenges, and Oregon has got very low taxes on their beer right now.
Yeah.
And they're really trying to take a large increase. In fact, they want to increase by 2,444%.
All right. Can you give us a real number? Like it used to be
$16, and they want it to be like $280 a barrel.
Ooh. So
something like that. I thought this
barrel?
article had the numbers, but I'm gonna have to go open the other one.
Huh. So a little bit of background. They do. I believe the Oregon legislature only meets every other year.
Every other year, yeah.
So that does have some impact. So even if they do pass this, like, oh, they can fix it later, they got to wait 2 years. That's a lot of money if you're in fact correct about that number.
And another problem that happened is that the idea is we're increasing the taxes to reduce consumption.
Right.
They're trying to price people out.
Right.
Which never works. However, they had a study.
Mm-hmm.
They said, okay, we're going to commission this study to prove that if people have higher prices of alcohol, it reduces the amount that they consume. And their own study said, no, that's not true. So instead of releasing the report, the Oregon Department of Health just buried it and continued on with their story, even though they knew it wasn't true. So
Right.
that's one of the bigger issues that is coming out of this situation.
Right. In the Oregon Liquor
Health
and now
Authority.
Cannabis Commission, I mean, they don't have a stellar track record either.
Mm-hmm.
They were accused, and it was found to be true, of taking seized liquor and offering it to legislators or preferred retailers.
And holding back bottles for themselves of
Yeah.
very rare
Right.
whiskeys.
Yes.
Anyways, other states struggle with these things, and this is why you have to have an organization watching to see what's happening. Otherwise, no one opposes it, and it just goes through.
Right.
That's us.
Right.
Good job, Rob.
Well, in fact, I'm waiting to hear back confirmation of what I agreed to so that I can. I haven't seen it yet, but we'll see.
Wild, because I thought it was going to be over in an hour. It's been more than an hour.
Yeah, I don't know.
In news from Washington, a brewery owner is suing the Department of the Treasury, the Tax and Trade Bureau, and the administrator of the Tax and Trade Bureau in order to move forward the idea of home distilling. So wine making at home is okay. Beer making at home is okay.
Right.
Distilling at home is illegal with a $10,000 fine and felony judgment.
Right.
So you don't want that to happen.
No.
And this man, John Ream, says that he started homebrewing, opened his brewery, has been incredibly successful. Why should he not be able to make alcohol at home through a still just like he does when he homebrews?
Right. We talked a little bit about this. I wish him well. I think he's got a point. But we talked about this in terms of the dynamics that I just explained, how we're going through this. The homebrewing culture, the homebrewing hobby, the homebrewing pursuit has been very warmly embraced by the beer industry, in particular the craft beer industry. And to the extent where there are things that homebrewers ask me about and they would like to change. And I said, no, you think you want that, but if you get that, then you're asking for a whole host of other problems. You have the best of both worlds. You can continue your hobby. You can have clubs. You can have fundraisers. You can do all these things.
You can have festivals,
the minute
competitions.
The minute you introduce a crossover between products and you get into the sale territory, and the IRS could just level a judgment against you and the entire organization, and you're kind of screwed. So in this case, I guarantee you that the spirits companies are against anyone distilling. They will spare no expense to quash that.
Stop it. Yeah.
Because they have no yeah. So this is why we have these two cameras, but they will spare no expense to quash that, because they don't need any more liquor companies. They already have people who ship liquor across the world. So yeah, they will be against that. Good luck.
He's taking it to court. He's not trying to.
Well, no, I mean, I don't know. You
Introduce a
familiar
law.
with our Supreme Court?
They seem pretty
I
reasonable.
mean, you just got to convince a guy named Harlan to agree with you, and
I
he'll
think
take
that would go all the way to the Supreme Court.
He'll go to take people on vacation. Well, we only know about the Supreme Court. We
If you're-
don't know about district courts. We
If
don't know
you're
about.
filing a lawsuit against the Treasury Department, it's
Yeah.
probably going to go to the Supreme Court to finally get judged, right?
Presumably.
I don't
I'm
think
only
they're gonna
saying we
stop
only
fighting
know
it.
about the boss,
The big boss.
the final boss. We don't know about all the other levels.
Right.
So great.
So that's interesting. We've got Death by Landlord. Forgotten Boardwalk in Jersey is closing because they could not renew their lease because someone else in the building wants to take over that space. So after 10 years, their lease is up and they're out.
Yeah. Well, we know of a case like that we know of cases like that. We know of something that's kind of in slow motion right now. We have a member who opened a business in a mall that didn't have tenants in it for 15 years, 15, something like that. And they came back and said, hey, we want a meeting. We want to change your rent structure because we're noticing there's a lot more activity in this mall now. And he's like, that's me.
You're welcome.
That's me. So now you can actually rent some of these things out. So but do I feel like that was an argument that is going to prevail? I hope it is. I don't know. Again. So yeah, that is a dynamic for sure. It's a dynamic, especially in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Commercial real estate. That is the game. So
let's talk. Let's wrap it up.
Imagine if the commercial realtors of Arizona came to the Liquor Consensus Board and said, "Hey, we want to, we want to make sure that we can raise effective rates 25%. You guys have to sign off on this, otherwise we'll use all our money to veto your bills."
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
There's so many options.
I can totally imagine.
I like the trial lawyers one better.
I could insert this in every conversation I want to.
I know you have meetings to go to, so let's talk about Arizona Beer Week.
Yes. I'm very excited about it.
We have a calendar online. I'm getting like at least 10 or 15 new calendar editions every day.
Right.
It's going to be cool. If your events aren't on there, you should get them on there.
Right. So we have one more show before that, right?
Yep.
We're going to go through those maybe, or
well, actually, it's starts Thursday, so
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. Arizona Strong Beer Friday.
Yeah.
Weekend Friday wristband pickup. Can you go through that process for us?
No, I can't.
All right. So
all I can tell you is I think the weather's going to be 72 and partly cloudy.
Nice. That's I'll take it.
Mm-hmm. That's my guess.
So VIP ticket holders and designated drivers can pick up their tickets on Friday at Salt River Fields at Talking Stick. There's going to be a college baseball game going. It's like Kansas and someone. And watch the game from the Pepsi Party Deck.
Yeah.
Sample some Arizona beverages. Right now we've got a few breweries plus a cidery plus a distillery that are going to be participating.
Yeah. And there'll be purchase of Arizona
beers
and other
as well.
The beers that are going to be there presumably for spring training.
Right.
At a reduced rate.
Yeah. We're coming up on spring training. This is exciting.
So I like this event because you can sample and then you can order a full beer.
And you can chill. You can watch the game. You can go anywhere you want in the stadium. Get some food.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Excellent. I predict good weather for that event too.
Great. It's indoors. I mean, it's covered.
I for the baseball players.
I think it's all. Yes.
I want you to participate in this tournament. I'm saying the weather's gonna be fine. If you are
perfect. If you're a baseball player thinking about whether you're going to go to Arizona in March,
even though you can't enjoy all the beverages we talked about.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're 21, you can.
Well, you'll be playing.
I don't know what their rules are. I drink when I'm working.
Yeah, didn't you have to sign the "I'll be good" card when you were in athletics?
When I was a pro baseball player?
No,
I didn't.
They're not pros.
When I was a college baseball player, I didn't have to sign that.
It's like
either.
you will not engage in
lucky me.
This kinds of behavior and alcohol and tobacco and
yikes.
I guess firearms probably presumed in there. No, they're not.
Where are you?
You never had to sign one of those cards?
I don't know what state you're in, but
I was in Wisconsin when I had to sign that card.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole basis of Dazed and Confused.
Okay.
Right?
I don't know.
The star quarterback doesn't want to sign the card.
Not to indulge in any alcohol, drugs, sex after 12, or any other illegal activity.
Right, not my shadow.
Later, baby. Found that in your glove compartment, man.
And you know you're the third person who's given me this today? God.
But what do you reckon you're gonna do?
I don't know, man. I'll probably end up signing it. I just don't want to give in so easy.
Man, it's the same bullshit they tried to pull in my day. You know, if it ain't that piece of paper, some other choice they're gonna try and make for you. You gotta do what Randall Pink Floyd wants to do.
Okay.
All right.
That is what we have for today. Go get yourself some.
Imagine the football
Super Bowl is coming up. Bud.
Imagine the football coaches
Super Bowl is
coming
Sunday.
to our group and saying, we want everyone to sign this card. And if we don't sign the card,
We're
we will
going to
shut
destroy
down
the Arizona
High school-
liquor consensus bill.
high school athletics. Will be devoted to shutting down your bills.
Hey, Super Bowl is
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah. Do I have
Do you
a
have any
prediction?
predictions?
Listen,
Brock Purdy, local boy.
I have rooted against the Chiefs in the past. I've rooted for a Packer Chiefs Super Bowl with ultimately them losing. I haven't followed them that closely. Did they get rid of the chop? Because the chop bothers me.
Yes.
Okay, so if they got rid of the chop, I'm on their side. Like for San Francisco, like I've got all kinds of stories about them losing to them.
They're a divisional rival, right? Are they in the same division as the Cardinals?
They are.
So that's our division rival.
Yeah.
Should we support them or should we be angry
I
at
don't know.
them?
I'm going
I don't
KC.
know.
I'm going KC. Everybody's built up the whole conspiracy theory. I'm like, might as well go.
Patrick
along.
Mahomes is from Texas Tech University.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift is from Tennessee.
Uh-huh.
They're both on the Chiefs team. It's a very diverse team.
So what are you saying?
Well, I'll be looking for a Chiefs win.
Okay. All right. I'm fine with that.
I really hate the orange and burnt,
I go
burnt
into
orange
this
and
game-
yellow colors.
I go into this game and I usually have a preferred team, which I guess would be the Chiefs. But then I'm really rooting for a competitive game with all kinds of twists and turns and like I'm in it for. I mean, I have nothing to lose in this game either. So I want
Do you have a
to. I want
party?
to be.
Do you have a party set up yet?
No, I want to be entertained. Right? I want a questionable call at the end, a tip ball. We don't know if it's caught or not.
Yes.
I want that. Yeah. So
Sounds amazing.
yeah.
Those things happen, huh?
Right. Andrew, this is not a beer podcast.
I
This is-
have seen a football game.
Oh,
I mean, not a lot, but I have seen one
All
or
right.
two.
I want to end this.
Great. Hey, Rob, thanks for being here today. Thanks to all of you nice people
Right.
for watching and listening. And have a great Super Bowl. Maybe pick yourselves up some truly hot wing flavored seltzer.
We didn't get to that topic.
This
And we're not going to.
This is
put
not
that
a
in the-
beer. This is not a beer podcast. It's a podcast about beer. Thanks
Sometimes
for
the
being
beer
here, and
finds you.
sometimes
And
the beer finds you.
sometimes the hemp gets mailed to you. Imagine the post office workers of America coming to our group and saying,
But the post office workers of America want to be able to bring beer. Yeah,
sometimes it makes
it's